What's going on, internet people? Welcome back to another Nerdlocker podcast. This is episode 11. I am Brandon.
I'm Patrick.
And I'm Jimmy.
We're going to start off with, I guess, some news that broke. Was this today? Kevin Smith directing a Spawn spin-off TV show?
That's when I found it. I found it today. And it's for BBC America, which is awesome, I think, I hope.
It's only going to be 4 episodes.
That's how BBC works. BBC puts out awesome shows, but they're like 4 episodes, 2 episodes, or like Luther, 1 episode.
Yeah.
Fucking Luther.
Anyway, I could talk about Luther. We know. But what's cool is Sam and Twitch, if you don't know, is a 2 characters. They were detectives in the Spawn universe, and once upon a time, they got their own spin-off thanks to Brian Michael Bendis. And I'll be honest, back when I was reading Spawn in the 90s and this spinoff happened, Brian Michael Bendis wasn't, quote-unquote, Brian Michael Bendis.
He was just other writer guy.
Yeah, he was. And it was a cool story. It was fun because Sam and Twitch were just 2 sort of goofy characters. If I remember correctly, it was almost like Laurel and Hardy in there. One was fat, one was skinny, kind of a nerdy dude.
Yep.
And they would sort of ground the universe of Spawn in the real world, and that they were detectives trying to find out things that had happened, and they made it more realistic versus obviously Spawn was part of the supernatural that was going on. So those 2 characters were awesome, and I enjoyed them. And the fact that Kevin Smith, who obviously is probably one of the biggest comic book nerds that can translate that vision to a TV screen or a movie screen, is handling them. I think that's fantastic. I can't wait to see what he's able to do. And again, the fact that it's on BBC America, it's not the same as like HBO or Showtime, but I think he'll get a lot more freedom than he would with, I don't know, like NBC.
Are you kidding me? Like BBC America is going to let him do just about anything.
Yeah, so I think it's exciting. I'm curious to see. I don't know what involvement Todd McFarlane will have. I'm sure he'll be producer at some point, but I'm excited to see this.
Well, I do have to say, if he's going to direct something, I'm glad it's something from the early 90s. I love Kevin Smith. I think he's great. I love his movies. But I don't think he's as like hip to comics as he used to be.
Mm-hmm.
Because I've listened to a few of his podcasts that I'm like, what are you talking about?
Well, you're right, but I've enjoyed when he comes on and he does an episode of The Arrow, or he did an episode.
Oh yeah, no, he's good. I mean, I'm not saying anything bad. I love Kevin Smith, but this is probably a better.
A couple of times when he's come in and written a couple of the books. Granted, I haven't read recent stuff, but his run on Daredevil a long time ago, I really enjoyed. He was doing something recently with an independent. I can't remember what it was.
Green Hornet.
Was it Green Hornet? Okay.
And I want to say there's another one that went along those lines. But yeah, he was doing Green Hornet for a minute.
I'm excited to see what he can do with it. Patrick, you and I share the same sort of timeline of comics. Did you ever read Sam and Twitch?
Yeah, I've got a couple copies. They're in the Spawn box with the rest of them.
The $1 Million Spawn box.
Exactly.
Comics will be worth something.
All those Spawn books that are just waiting to be bought for millions.
Exactly. Hey, I look at it and I look at that long box. I'm like, holy shit, dude! That's the whole '90s, like right there in one box.
Do you have who was the other one? Was Pitt, right?
Yeah, Pitt. I do have Pitt comics.
Yes. Awesome, but I can't remember who wrote that. He never put it out on a regular timeline, so it never came out right.
Right, because it was Wallace Patricio, because I was a fan of his when he did X-Men back in the day. And then he did Pitt, and then he had a stroke. Yeah, you didn't know that? He had Wallace Patricio.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he had a stroke in like the early 2000s, I want to say, and fought his way back to drawing comics again.
Wow.
So that was pretty dope, because I picked up a couple of his comics after I found out that he had a stroke, and I started reading them again, because he did oh wait, I'm sorry, that's Wetworks. He did Wetworks. Sorry, Pitt was what was this other guy's name? Just Patricio did Wetworks. That was the other comic I have. So yeah, I have Wetworks, Pitt, Um,
You have Gen
the
13. That was the other big one.
Oh, of course, dude. I've got signed copies of Gen 13. That was
Jim
ridiculous.
Lee.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Jim Lee and J. Scott Campbell.
Yeah.
What was it? The Max. Most
Oh
underrated
yeah.
comic in the 90s to this day.
I
So,
never read the comic. I just saw the MTV show.
I did. You know what? I don't know why I thought. What did didn't Dwayne McDuffie have a hand in
hmm,
some of that stuff, or no? Who am I?
I
Dwayne
looked it up,
McDuffie
so don't think I did this off the top of my head. But Pitt was created by Dale Keown.
did Keown. I know there's someone with a K.
Yeah,
Dog sounds angry.
a little bit.
I think he's mad.
Well, there's two. The red-nosed pit bull and the blue-nosed pit bull are pulling on their rope.
Well, I bet they're arguing about the fact that Ben Affleck is now saying he doesn't want to play Batman.
That is. Oh man. I,
I can't tell you how like giddy this news makes me because it's like it's just first he drops out of the director's seat,
right.
and it's like now we're sitting here knowing that there's a Justice League trailer out. There's a Justice League movie that has been filmed. There's two Justice League movies that have been filmed.
Hmm.
Like he is Batman. It was a huge controversy when he got cast because everyone didn't want him to happen. Other people thought he'd be great, and
Hmm.
now it's like, okay, well, I'm not going to direct the movie if it's not a good script. He backs out, and now he's like, you know what? I don't even think I want to be Batman anymore. Like,
Right.
I think I'm completely over this.
And that's sort of the sad thing is he wasn't the problem with Batman versus Superman.
There's the scene where he's in the warehouse fighting is awesome. If that whole movie was that, I'd be down. But as soon as he started murdering people, I was like, mother fuckers. Like, there were so many good parts of him as Batman, but the overall idea of it sucked. So, I mean, I was the first to apologize that he was not me getting all mad, and I filmed that video where I felt like I
I
lost a
think he
member of
cried.
my. I was very upset. I was in a screening with Chase, and as the movie ended, he pulled out his cell phone and he's like, "Huh, you're gonna be pissed." And I'm like, "What?" And he just shows it to me, and I'm like, "Are you fucking kidding me? You're gonna put Ben Affleck as fucking Batman?" But like, I just think this says a lot about DC's problem overall with the movies, man. Even Lawrence Fishburne, I guess, came out and was like, "Yeah, dude, we're getting our asses handed to us."
Yeah, he had a pretty cool interview because I asked him about why he isn't in Justice League, and he really revealed himself to be a huge comic nerd. I didn't know that. And he's like, why would I, as a newspaper editor, be in Justice League, a story about all the superheroes? That makes no sense. And they
Well,
wanted me for a little cameo, but it didn't work in my schedule, so I didn't think it was worth it. And I'm like, dude, you're awesome.
yeah,
Still
I
my
mean that's good. He's looking at it as like, I want this to make sense. Well, more problematic news with DC. I'm calling this problematic. I don't know. I think this is weird, but it there was rumors that Mel Gibson is in talks to possibly direct the Suicide Squad sequel, and Mel Gibson has come out and said that he is indeed in talks to direct that.
Uh, yeah.
I
I
might be
don't.
alone here, but I think this is fantastic.
God
Yeah,
damn.
you are alone. You are fucking on an island in the middle of the Pacific with
Dude,
Wilson alone.
all you got to do is update Braveheart, but have the suicide characters in those
No,
roles.
no,
I'm
no,
there.
Yeah,
no!
Do
stop
it.
Don't
this. Stop
Do
this.
it.
stop!
Stop this.
Stop this
Shot
now!
right in the head.
Please
Love it.
stop.
It's my island. Love it.
Yeah,
Do it.
yeah.
So Will Smith is just yelling, "Freedom!"
Yeah, exactly.
That's fine. I'm fine with that. It can't be
Uh,
worse than what we saw already.
I don't know, man. Be careful because, like, I thought Batman Superman was the worst we could see, and then I saw Suicide Squad, and I was like, "What the fuck?" The weirdest part to me about Suicide Squad is like how good all those actors are, and
right,
like I thought Margot Robbie killed it as Harley Quinn. Will Smith, I mean, Will Smith's a solid actor. You can't really take anything away from that guy. Like
right.
everything he does, he's good. I thought he did great as Deadshot, but just all around, like the movie was a not a good story. Like it wasn't.
It was a hot mess.
It was.
It was a
Well, it's funny, Brandon. You just said something that made sense to me, which is weird. Man of Steel was like, okay, watchable. I enjoyed parts of it. And then Batman versus Superman was not as good. And then Suicide Squad was not as good. It's like DC's going the wrong way in trying to figure out their franchise. It's
Batman
unbelievable.
Superman was like, we're the worst movie, and then Suicide Squad was like, hey, hold my beer, I got this.
I love that.
Yeah,
Because we like
exactly.
Viola Davis, awesome. Like
Right.
who was Boomerang? Was it what? Fuck, why am I spacing on his name? Uh, Jai, yeah, Jai Courtney, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
The
he was.
Australian guy, right?
Yeah, he was great. I mean, like Jared Leto is a phenomenal actor too. But it was just like,
Mm,
oh,
mm.
Dallas Buyers Club. That was some good shit, man.
That
He
was
killed it.
that was good, but as a Joker, not so much.
No. I'm not saying it's a joke. No. I'm just saying in general,
Oh,
like these are talented actors, but like
okay.
there was something about this like mess of a movie that just like
Yeah.
sucked.
That sucked. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, and adding Mel Gibson to the mix is not going to help it.
I don't
You know?
know how he's gonna. I don't know how they're sitting in the room going like, all right, guys, we're getting pretty fucked here.
Yeah.
Things aren't going in the direction we want. How do we fix this?
You
Yeah.
said it, Brandon. It's the hold my beer moment. It's perfect.
Yeah. But then here's the thing, though. Is like, do you think they felt pressure from because this announcement came out like relatively short time after both Guardians of the Galaxy and the Infinity Wars trailers and snippet dropped. So DC was probably like shitting their pants when they saw the Guardians of the Galaxy's second trailer. Like, oh fuck.
But like, how is Suicide Squad your answer to Guardians? Like, it
That's what
just
that's what it's supposed to be. I mean,
no.
that's the way I
I
see it.
understand. I understand that was their like reasoning behind it, but like,
Mhm.
how was that your like? Oh, these space people. Like, we've got a talking raccoon and a fucking tree, and then they're like, all right, let's use our Warner Brothers money and not make Killer Croc look like a like. We'll just make him look like a dude with a big head and a skin condition.
Right? That was
I
that was one of the most disappointing parts of that whole entire movie because I like
when
Killer Croc.
so do I. I love, but
Yeah.
he takes off that jacket, and I was like, all
Nah.
right, a whole lot of nothing happening.
Well, because like
Just
I think me and you both got spoiled from the Batman video games too because we have expectations. Like after the comic and Arkham series, you're like, this is Killer Croc. Killer Croc should be this scary because
oh yeah,
I
terrifying.
I thought like Killer Croc and what was it? Not Asylum. Maybe it was Asylum that when you had to go down the sewer and actually like skulk around in the sewer. I was not digging that, dude.
I was
Arkham City. City.
Arkham City, yeah, because you don't really see
Arkham.
him in. No, you don't see him in City, right?
No, you don't. It's Asylum that you had to go under the asylum and look for
Yeah,
him,
and you have
right?
to like
Yeah,
you have to like tiptoe, which pissed me off because I'm like, I
yeah,
just want to fucking punch
right.
the Joker in the dick. Why is this taking so long? And if you move too fast, then Croc fucking eats you. It was bullshit.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Um, and then yeah, he
But
doesn't show up in City, and then he briefly, I think he's in like an extra scene in a silent or in Night.
really?
Yeah, when you're, did you play Arkham Knight?
Yeah, yeah.
When you have the whole like fever dream as the Joker, I
Oh,
think he's
okay.
like standing there for a second.
Yeah, he is for a hot second.
Yeah, but he doesn't look nearly as terrifying as he did in Asylum. Like
No,
that was
Asylum was just.
ridiculous.
But like I said, though, I think with DC, they're going in the opposite direction. And the one person I feel bad for is Jason Momoa. Is that his name? The guy's playing.
Oh fuck yeah, Khal Drogo,
Yeah, dude.
Buff Buff
I've
Dave Navarro.
yeah, I've liked this dude, and now he's getting shit on absolutely before he even gets a chance to even show off what he can do.
He's a
And
phenomenal actor. I mean, you watch Game of Thrones. I really I wasn't the best movie, but I really liked him in the Conan movie.
okay, yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah.
I think he is good, but like I mean, I think it's a shitty way to start as like you're saying, he's just getting a bad rap because he's Aquaman, and Aquaman like has been a joke for years.
Well, that's the thing. He was the guy who was going to turn Aquaman into something besides a joke.
Yeah.
And the
And we
minute
still might
that
have it. You still might have it in the movie. You know, like he could be the breakout star of that movie.
yeah, that's true. I think that's going to be the only one. Anyway,
Uh,
so I would say like that trailer dropped like the Guardians of the Galaxy looks fucking solid as
You know what?
hell.
You said DC was reactionary. Do you know what else I saw?
What's
I
that?
saw Fox TV was saying they'd be open to another Firefly series if Joss Whedon came back.
Yeah, they're like,
And
please,
I was dying. I'm
please.
like, dear God, you guys, you had it. You had it before Guardians. What's wrong with you people?
Yeah, and they totally shit on him, and now he's like, no, screw you. I'm making Marvel money.
I'm making
Eh,
that Marvel money now. I don't need you in my life anymore.
exactly. He's like, I've got a hot girlfriend. Fuck off.
Yeah, I don't need this anymore. I've made it.
So
That's
it's
fucking good.
yeah. So they just screwed the pooch on that one. I mean, I love Firefly, and I thought it was like the quintessential sci-fi, shoot 'em up was awesome, but they kind of
Well,
screwed up on
speaking of good TV shows that get canceled, I don't know if you guys have watched Superpowers yet.
I've seen
No. Oh,
2 episodes, the
It's
first two.
Superpowers.
I saw one
It's
episode.
it's pretty funny, but I don't
I
know.
enjoyed it. I like Alan Tudyk is my favorite,
Alan Tudyk is the best.
and he's playing. I don't remember his name, but he's playing Bruce Wayne's cousin,
Yeah,
and it's hilarious because
You
he's
know,
so jealous of Bruce, and he doesn't know Bruce is Batman. He just knows Bruce Wayne is this rich playboy, and he basically always wants to be around Bruce or get phone calls from Bruce, and he's just that sycophant that wants that, and he never gets it, and it's hilarious.
yeah,
I also really, really, really love Ron Funches.
Oh yeah, he's yeah.
That guy's fucking hilarious. But as history shows with NBC,
Yeah.
if it's funny, it'll probably
yeah,
get canceled.
Yeah, we
exactly.
got our 2 episodes. That's about it. It'll be gone.
Halfway through season one, when everyone's like, "You guys, this show's really great," it'll be like NBC does not renew Superpowers for a second season.
It won't,
Thanks,
won't,
NBC. Well, it's like when
won't.
they push well, they let The Office finish, but they pushed Parks and Rec to go early, and they basically pushed 30 Rock to go early, which goddamn
Yeah,
30 Rock was fucking great, man.
Well, that's
that
what's
was
hilarious. They announced this is their last season, and they realized they had no shows coming out the next year that could replace it. So then they postponed it and had another season after that.
Yeah, it was fucking
You guys, you're
awful.
so stupid.
Well,
Plan, do something. I don't know. Whatever.
well, I hope Superpower sticks around. I mean, I hope I'm not sure exactly what it like how connected it's going to be if you'll actually see any superheroes or anything, but whatever. Funny show. Hope it stays around. The one show I have questions about, and I'm going to let Patrick take the lead on this, is Legion.
Oh yes. Legion. So as an X Men fan or old school X Men fan, like, I was really looking forward to Legion, and I'm on the fence a little bit on Legion. To be completely honest, I enjoy the show a lot, but it just has so much Bryan Singer sprinkled throughout the show that it kind of pisses me off in a little way. I don't know. Maybe it's just me.
I
I
think
mean, like
visually, like I do have it. It feels like the X Men universe, I
universe,
guess.
right?
The question I have is, I mean, I love the X Men, but I am much more of a like main team X Men. Like my
Okay,
knowledge
so
doesn't totally like span into like a lot of the side characters. I know who Legion is, but
right.
anybody on the show, is there anybody that resembles anybody that is an actual character?
Not really. For me at least, I don't really recognize anybody. Legion, and even Legion, even like David. Even David is like not the Legion from the actual comic book. Because that's where I start getting a little upset over it because it's not exactly in line with the Marvel universe like Legion. He's close, but they can't. They don't include Professor X. They don't include Marvin Taggart. They don't include, you know, all these basic characters that led to him being kind of a bad guy, kind of an anti-hero. Um, it wasn't a case of I don't know. David's issue was like his neglect. The neglect that he faced as a kid kind of formed him into this psychotic, schizophrenic, telepath. And because he had so much raw talent and so much raw power, that's what's when Charles decided to bring him back into the fold and be the dad he was supposed to, that's what kind of calmed him down and got him more focused and why he's so powerful. But Legion um, in the comics was like always some guy that you just didn't want to talk to, you didn't want to mess with. He was like Voldemort. He didn't want to talk or speak his name. It was just like don't say it because he can hear you. That's how
He's
powerful he was.
responsible for Age of Apocalypse, right? That's his doing.
Yes,
Yeah,
best storyline ever. He was in a coma and all of a sudden popped out of it and decided that one of the reasons why his dad basically couldn't spend time with him and why his dad was so consumed was because of Magneto. So he
right.
went back in time to when Magneto and Charles Xavier were friends, and he was going to kill Magneto before he became evil.
Hmm.
And unfortunately, the X-Men went to stop him, and as he went to go do it, he accidentally killed Xavier, which meant Xavier didn't exist. Thus, David Heller didn't exist, and set off the Age of Apocalypse.
Right.
But yes, it
Just
was
had
awesome.
to mention it.
And it was,
Yeah.
again, like Patrick said, it was not the Legion that we're seeing here, at least not yet.
Yeah.
Do you guys
Not
think
yet.
you're gonna get like if this show continues a lot? I mean, it's getting really good reviews. The first two episodes are really like people are enjoying it, which is
Right.
good. But I mean, do you think down the line we're gonna get like known mutants or Professor Xavier mentioned or
I think we might because it's all in the same realm. Um, the real interesting thing with Legion is I was listening to this NPR review of it, and it's like, yeah, this is this great, psychological, trippy superhero movie. So those who don't are not into superhero shows would like it, and people who are will like it as well. And I was like, okay, I could see that, but as a comic book fanboy, you just kind of wish that okay, please, for the love of God, put in some of the stuff from the movie. I mean, from the comics in it. So there's just a little bit of, hey, this is for you guys who actually read the comics.
yeah?
Um, which I think there is. I mean, can we talk about the guy with the yellow eyes?
Yes,
Okay.
I want to talk about all of this because like I love the one of the things that bothers me about
Mhm.
the X-Men movie, like especially X3, pissed me off for so many reasons, but it's like they were making up mutants and it's like as a
Right.
comic book fan, there's so many mutants that you could just make nods to that no one
Right.
fucking did. So
Right.
being that in the show, like I don't know if that girl at first I thought she kind of was like a nod to
Pixie.
Rogue, but then I'm like, why don't you just make her Rogue?
Oh yes, in the show.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I thought so too. I thought that was a nod to Rogue as well because I was like, okay, well, it's Sid. I think her name is Sid. Sid Barrett. Yeah. I was like, all right, that's a Rogue type character. You can't touch me. Don't touch me. Stay in my. I was like, this is gonna be awesome if this is actually who it is. If
And
they
then
put
it's
the,
not.
then it's not. I'm like, oh, fuck. All right. Who's next? Then we have the Dream Weaver guy, and then we have like these other mutants that you see circling through. I was even looking for people in the background. Like okay, you when you're going through Deadpool, you can kind of see people like you saw oh God, what's the girl's name? It's gonna mess with me. But you saw the mutants in the background of Deadpool. You saw the mutants in the backgrounds of like even the Bryan Singer film. So you knew that it's in the X universe and so on. With this one, you don't really see it, and maybe we will. But I'm thinking like the guy with the yellow eyes. Now, if he is who I think he is, I'm going to be extremely happy with this. Um, I think he's Mojo. Because him and Mojo.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
You're talking about the big dude he keeps seeing in his
Yes, yes,
okay,
yes,
I
yes.
was hoping someone had a theory on that because I was like
Yes.
watching it and I'm like, is it the blob? What is going on with this? Like
No,
Interesting.
it's creepy as shit. He is
it's
by
a lot
far.
of people are really, really uncomfortable when he comes on, I guess. I was reading something about that.
Yeah, it isn't. The last episode was very uncomfortable because every time he started speaking about certain
You
stuff.
watch the second one?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay, when he's in the like the MRI machine or
yeah,
whatever?
yeah.
Oh, fuck yeah, dude. That was not
Not cool.
yeah.
Not cool.
No. No, no,
So
no, no,
my
no.
so my theory is that he's Mojo because and Jim, I'm sorry that you have to hear this because I'm spoiling it for you, but fuck it, you're on air. Um, the fact that his dad in the second episode he starts talking about how the stars speak to him, and as soon as he mentions he's like, yeah, Dad, the stars speak to me too. And when he mentions that, that's when we see the door open, and it gets all fucked up, and like he knows that something's behind that closet door.
Oh, when
And
he's in the
anytime,
therapist's office.
yeah, in the therapist's office. So every time he starts explaining how his powers work or what he can actually see, this guy pops up, and he always sees him in the background or he's part of like whatever. And even Sid saw it when she switched with him. Uh,
Yeah.
so he's always
Well,
there,
and
but
he
he
doesn't talk about it at all. Every time somebody asks what's going on, he acts like it didn't happen
didn't.
or he didn't see
Yeah,
anything.
like it didn't happen, didn't see anything. But if you look at him and you look at the man with the yellow eyes and you take a picture of Mojo,
Yeah.
not not 1990s, 19 not like late 1990s Mojo who it got skinny, but the fat blobbish
Yeah.
Mojo from Chris Claremont looks
Mhm.
just like him. Looks just like
God
him.
damn it.
And if that's the case, then he could be. You could see like there's a possibility for like a long shot, or there's a possibility for any of like Mojo's peeps to just all of a sudden show up. I mean, maybe that's the other division that wants him. Um, I thought that was actually if it does end up being true, that would be really really cool, and I will take back everything bad I said about it.
That's not a bad idea. I mean, I that would be a cool way to like cuz like, the X-Men family is so
Big, it's
massive. Like,
right.
being the Deadpool is probably going to introduce X-Force and that. We've already had X-Men movies.
Hmm.
That would be cool to see that kind of end of the mutant spectrum that you don't actually see.
Well, and then on top of that, like Mojo, the one of the things I loved about Mojo was the fact that he was always like into the show of somebody's life. Like, remember his big thing was like everything was a show to him. Everything was
Yeah.
kind of like what was it when Dazzler and Longshot got together? That was a soap opera that they would play
Yeah.
out, and or like was it Spiral, the multi-arm chick who could
Yep.
jump in and out? She can control space time. So I was like, oh, maybe the reason why we get these little missing gaps in time for him is, maybe he's fucking with her in that way, or So I don't know. It'd be a cool nod if it was Mojo, as long as they don't kind of screw with the basic character too much. I'm hoping because he was kind of sadistic and self-absorbed. So it would be kind of cool to kind of keep that in that same whole vibe or genre or what have you. So
Man,
that's my theory. That's my theory.
I'm down with that.
Right? I mean, what do you think, Jim?
Pretty
I
awesome.
mean, you're '90s.
Yeah, that's what I mean. When they were, whatever, I can't remember his planet, whatever his planet was, where they would do
It was Mojo World, right?
was it just
Yeah,
Mojo World,
I thought it was Mojo World.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
they would do all that just messed up stuff, and he was always in control, like Truman Show.
Right.
Man, the
I mean,
sadistic Truman Show.
he,
That'd be
he
awesome,
gave,
dude.
he gave us the X babies though.
Yeah.
He did give us the X babies.
That's
That's how you know when you're an old ass comic book fan because you remember shit like that, the X
Yeah.
babies, because nobody else would even make
No.
that fucking reference.
So I'll have
Uh,
to go get that book out and read it again.
there is one website thinking that it could be Mojo,
Hmm.
and they also think it could be the Shadow King.
Ooh.
I don't think the Shadow King makes much sense.
No, I really like the Mojo theory. I hope fucking Mojo is where it's at.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Shadow King was more of his dad's thing,
Yeah.
you know, because originally Shadow King was the reason why Charles Xavier is in the wheelchair. He
Yeah.
separated his spine. So I think, well, I hope. Let's say I hope it is Mojo, but knowing Bryan Singer, it'll probably be Shadow King.
I don't. Well, that's the other thing. I don't think this has much to do with Bryan Singer because this is that series that's outside the normal X universe. The Bryan Singer one's that other one.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be the one on Fox.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
Because
this is that
I was
Mother
under the
Gold.
impression this one is an X-Men TV show, obviously, but it's not directly connected with the Fox movies because it's Fox and this is Marvel Television.
My only opinion, because I haven't seen the second episode, is I felt like watching the whole first episode. And I was talking to Brandon about this earlier. Is it felt like a zero issue? Like, okay, all right. Well,
Yeah.
I don't understand what's the point? What's going on here? I don't know yet. And that was my only complaint. Although it was beautiful, and I liked what the story was telling me, I just didn't get the overall picture of what was going on until the end when they started running. I'm like,
Oh
Yeah.
okay, well,
yeah.
this is getting somewhere.
Yeah, I could see
Otherwise, it
that.
felt like a zero issue where it was like setting up background completely.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, I think it's got a lot to go, and like TV shows will like walk that really fine line between taking too long to explain something and then, you know,
Overdoing
jumping
it. Over.
into yeah, exactly. So I'm hoping that like this keeps people entertained
Yeah.
because the first two episodes I did like, but yeah, I'm with you. Like questions are cool, but eventually you do need some answers with everything.
Right.
Well, I think it's
Unless,
on
unless of
network
course you're
that'll get a
fucking
chance
Westworld.
at least. Being on FX, I think it'll at least get a chance.
Yeah.
I don't know.
FX will give it a chance. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. Like, and I have to move on to the subject is giving things a chance, and I will not give this one a chance. It's Ghost in the Shell. I just
I was
saw
gonna
the new
say,
trailer.
speaking of trigger words, because Patrick, you just sent me something of Donald Trump as Modoc. Donald Trump being my new trigger word. Saying anything bad about the Cleveland Indians is
Yeah,
Tim's trigger word,
yeah.
and yours is Ghost in the Shell.
Yeah, exactly. And that's. I just watched the second trailer, second release, and again, it is proving.
Is this a Super Bowl one?
No, this is the one that got just released this week. It was
Oh, there's another one.
yeah, the second trailer was released this week, where we get to see a little bit more on Major Kusunagi's backstory, and that's where they completely shit the bed as far as it goes for us fans. Um, yeah, they're mashing up so many different parts and different comics into one movie that you're going to start you start thinking that the Major Kusanagi is against this government establishment in the trailer, whereas the story isn't so much that she has an identity crisis because she's a fucking android, she's a cyborg, not so much because she feels that somebody stole her identity and stole her body. So again, it's just proving that I'll probably go to see this out of spite. Um,
Like you just sit down with your arms crossed immediately.
right, and like I'll do the whole Shia LaBeouf thing where I record myself while watching it, so that everybody can see me. I'll just do a live Facebook the whole time watching the movie.
It's just the
Um,
look you give me the entire time we're at Comic Con.
Pretty much, yeah. It's probably going to be something similar to that. The angry black man stare.
Exactly.
That's pretty much it.
You better go with somebody because as a lone angry black man, like with that face, people are gonna go get like security. Like something's up with this guy.
Yeah, somebody come get him.
So
Um,
does he have an adult? Like, is he with somebody?
I mean, I visually it looks absolutely amazing. That's the hardest thing for me. Is like visually it is absolutely stunning. Besides the square cars, I mean they kind of went a little too literal on the car design there, but the square and like rectangle and triangles, like very sharp edged cars. But outside of that, everything else looks absolutely amazing until you get to Scarlett Johansson and then they start talking. So, outside of that, it looks pretty good. And we'll go up. My brother's absolutely upset. You think I'm pissed? Talk to my brother Sean. He is absolutely irate, and he doesn't talk to anybody.
He's
Like
like, nah, man.
exactly, exactly. He just sits there, and I asked him, I was like, "Hey, do you want to go see the movie with me? We'll go check it out." Nope.
Damn, he's
Uh,
not even trying to give it a chance.
Not even trying to give it a chance. He's like, I won't, I refuse. Because Sean's even a bigger fan than I am. Because I introduced him to Ghost in the Shell when I came back from Japan. So when I lived there, I gave him the condensed anime, or not manga book, along with this DVD of the first original movie. He fell in love with it, kept on going. I mean, he's even watched even the Netflix small series, that came out.
Yeah, I mean
Uh,
it's his shit.
yeah, so it's his shit, and he's just like, nope, not gonna do it. So I don't know. I would be interesting to see if like any of our listeners or anybody on our Facebook uh, has or will is willing to give it a chance, and I want to see what their take on it. But for me,
I want to say I've seen
Ghost in the Shell.
every comic book movie and everything that I like. I've given everything a shot. I mean, I went and saw both Fantastic Four movies when
Oof,
after the first one I shouldn't have at all, but
oof.
I don't know. I think you really should give it a chance, but I mean, I would love to hear his. Maybe he'll be a guest on the podcast if he goes and
Yeah,
sees that. He can he
I
can
don't I
be our
don't know
first guest.
I don't know if it would be a good idea because
It's just like
he
the most explicit podcast ever made.
exactly. I don't know if that'll work, but it should make for an interesting conversation though. Needless to say, yeah.
Well, I do have to watch that. I have it. I just haven't watched it yet. And then I was talking to Jimmy earlier this week, and I guess I have to watch the HBO Spawn because I have not watched it in forever.
Oh wow.
I remember seeing it way back in the day, but I didn't grasp any of it, I guess.
Hmm.
But this started because I messaged you guys watching Justice League Dark, and
Hmm.
that was like, I didn't want one of you guys to, not that like, Justice League Dark, I don't think either of you are buying that and watching it with your kids, but
Right.
just in case, don't watch this with your children. Holy shit.
Yeah,
Like,
I just finished it. That's why I was 10 minutes late. Was because I wanted to finish
that
Justice League.
the beginning
Yeah.
was fucking dark.
Yeah, yeah. It was the first 10 minutes of it.
Yeah.
I
Like,
was like, well, okay,
it's
wow.
dark and like one the woman driving the car just like
Hmm.
so what happens, Jimmy, is like this woman's driving and all of a sudden there's all these demons around her car and she's just flooring it like trying to get away from all these demons, and then the car lifts up and it's Wonder Woman and she's like, you got to save me, she got to save me, and she looks down the street and there are just mangled people that she is just like
Ran over.
run over.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then there's this dude in his house, and he's like screaming he's got like a shotgun, and he's like, "What'd you do with my family?" And then you just see this like blob on the floor, and it's like, you know, we are your family. And he's like, no, you're not. And uh, then they go like to the shed, and there's all these fucking bodies like wrapped up and covered in tarp, and I was like, what the fuck am I watching?
Yeah. It was like an episode of Dexter. It was pretty bad.
Well, that's
Nice.
why I want to watch the Spawn because I don't know. I mean, but don't get me wrong. Like Spawn was on HBO, made for
Hmm.
adults. This is an adult movie, but it's still like the Justice League Dark, starring Batman. Like,
Right.
So I feel like there's some kids that would be like, "Oh, Mom, I want to watch this Batman cartoon."
Yeah, and all of a sudden, be like, oh, shouldn't have done that.
We regret to
Yeah,
inform you, but your child should not be watching this.
exactly.
How
Jeez.
how dark was the Spawn one? I mean, was it like?
It was
That was
pretty fucking bad.
I just remember. I mean, I wasn't a kid. I was in my teens, but I remember watching it and being shocked that the violence to an extent, but that they're like having hardcore sex, and I'm like, wow, that's weird for my animation to be doing this.
Like, that's not for my. That's not my.
I'm having
Oh,
weird feelings. I don't know what I
oh.
feel.
My
I'm, I,
pants are tight.
I'm not trying. I don't mean to enjoy this, but I really am.
And boys and girls, this is before the internet, so like,
So you're like,
holy
all right, well, this is what I'm into now.
yeah, we really weren't introduced to cartoon porn at that age.
Yeah,
We're like,
yeah, exactly.
whoa. It
Whoa,
was,
Keith David plays Spawn. That's fucking awesome.
yeah.
Yeah.
And HBO, I mean, every once in a while, I'll go look and see what HBO shows they put on to, catch up on things. Like I mentioned, I watched all of Sopranos, but Spawn has never been on there until recently, so that's cool.
Jim, what are you watching? A cartoon? Go away!
Never mind.
You won't like this, Mom. Just go away.
Don't judge me.
I need a blank tape. I need to tape this.
Well, that was also the bad part, is because you didn't really have on demand back then.
So you're like, Spawn's on. I gotta go.
You knew at like 11 o'clock it's going to be on. So I was like, all right, I'm going to be up at 11 o'clock and I'm going to watch this and make sure nobody knows I'm up. Yeah, the good old days.
All right. Well, I think that's gonna do it for us. We want make sure you guys check us out on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, nerdlocker.com. You can find me at anything at Brandon Zitch. Thank you guys for listening. Please subscribe, and until next time, you guys have a nerdy week.